big happy birthday to Marlena.
Happy birthday, Marlena! Thank you.
Not to embarrass you here at the start line, but happy birthday.
Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. This is going to be a video that was recorded back in June of 2025. This is the Baker City Classic, the crit. So basically it's race number 3 on day 2. It's a 4-race stage race. The first day is a 78-mile road race with about, 3,500 feet of climbing. Day 2, there's a time trial in the morning and the crit in the evening. And then day 3, there's a 82-mile road race with about 7,000 feet of climbing. So definitely an awesome road race. It's out in Baker City, Oregon. Little different governing body with the, it's not USA Cycling, it's an Oregon race body out there. So anyway, I'm gonna be bouncing back and forth between Marlena's camera and Elisa's camera. It's a pretty good field. It's not super stacked. It's mostly the kind of northwest, northwest regions teams. We got Valkyr, we have Monarch, A Faster Me, us, and a bunch of other teams out there that are kind of mixed. But Valkyr, Monarch, and A Faster Me are the main 3 teams in this race. So I believe this is Elisa's camera here, just sitting on Monarch's wheel. We wanted to make the race hard. We're racing at altitude a little bit. It's just under 4,000 feet here. I want to say it's about 3,800 feet. And this is where it's flat. So it's, the road races are definitely in altitude, especially the last day gets over 8,000 feet. But yeah, it's a fast crit. You can see in the corner up there, it's a nice L-shaped crit. Yeah, so it's a very hard race. One of the big hitters in here is a young lady from Uzbekistan. Very strong all the way around. Strong in the sprint, strong on the time trial, strong climber. The Monarch team is very strong as well, and Valkyr has some very strong girls also, or women. You can see a little gap opening here, so Elisa's trying to encourage the Valkyr girl to close it. And then she eventually goes around here. And that's the young lady from Uzbekistan right there in the yellow jersey. She's in the yellow jersey because she's leading the series right now. This was a very competitive race also. We have Marlena, Elisa, Naomi, and Autumn in this race. Most of the race was, I shouldn't say most of it. The road races, it's kind of a unique series. The road races, all the women race together, and everyone races the same distance. So it doesn't matter if you're Cat 5 or if you're a pro, you're doing a 78-mile road race and you're doing an 82-mile road race, and it's all a mass start for the women. And then the crits and the time trial, those are separated. So this is just a P12 race here, and the road races are, P1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the Cat 3s are separate on this day. They race by themselves. They did not race in the group, because we have Ellen and Jesse also racing in the Cat 3 categories. So you can see the race is hot from the beginning. Yeah, like not only is it a nice flowing course, with decent pavement and everything, everybody had kind of the same idea. And I wouldn't say everybody, but I would say at least us and Monarch, we kind of wanted to create a break. We needed to make up some spots. Autumn's sitting in about 4th or 5th at this time in GC. So, once she had a good time trial, a good first day, I think she came in 5th on the first day, maybe 4th or 5th in the time trial as well. I can't remember what she placed in the time trial. Elisa was 3rd on the time trial, but Elisa didn't have as good of a first day. So Autumn's sitting like 4th or 5th in GC. So we definitely wanted to create a break, see if we can get Autumn in a break. Unfortunately, Autumn has, I'll point it out later, but Autumn has some gearing issues, and she's stuck in the small ring during this crit, during like the first half of this crit. So yeah, Elisa runs around here, tries to run down this young lady that's on the break here, or was trying to set a break. Yeah, I want to say, I think Coalition Cycling's out here as well. Yeah, so I think one of the things that's hard to see is obviously the altitude. And for those that are not used to it, even the 3,600 feet has a little bit of a difference on, your air intake and your breathing here. So you see Monarch just went. I think that might be an Annie right there going off the front with Monarch. They're counterattacking, which was great for us because, like I said, this is kind of what we wanted, other than all of us race at like sea level. So it did take we did get out there a little bit early, not much, just a few days early to get some easy rides in, try to get the girls to adjust to some of the altitude. And you saw us back there on the left-hand side with the Faster Me 10 at the Peterson chocolate shop. They're a great host for us. We kind of use that as our headquarters for the day because, usually it's hot out here this time of year, but this weekend had a little bit of rain and cloud cover. So even during this crit, or just before the crit, we had some rain come down as well. Yeah, I'm definitely very behind in some videos, but we have some breaks right now, and I'll be able to get some of these old races out in the next couple weeks. Just trying to fill the space, fill the space of the off season without the lack of activity. So again, as you can see, it's just attack after attack. And sometimes it's sometimes it makes it easier, and obviously sometimes it makes it a little harder when you have a game plan and everyone else is so aggressive that not only do you not get to execute your game plan, even if it's the same plan, even if this was what we wanted to do, it helps to a degree that other people are attacking, keeping it fast, stretching it out, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it also throws a monkey wrench in your plans a little bit because now you're forced to react to others, and sometimes the pressure could be put on you instead of you putting the pressure on other riders. And that's exactly what's happening here, as we wanted to be the aggressor, but some other riders had the same idea. And as you can see, it's just Elisa at the front right now because with so many attacks, it's easy for some of your teammates to be caught out of position. And that's for everybody. These are the same girls at the front right here. So there you see Autumn there. She's going to counter. You see Naomi on the right. But like I said, Autumn, unfortunately, is stuck in the small ring right now. She just had a problem with her bike and kind of figured it out mid-race, and she's going to switch later. But right now, she can't accelerate much more than like 30 miles per hour. She just starts spinning out. You'll see it when the group attacks and you go by, like, she's just going to be spinning at like 120, 130 cadence, and everybody else is just walking by her. You can see her now. She's kind of looking down at her gears. And she has a much faster cadence right now than everybody else, just because she's stuck in that small ring. And that can burn you out really fast. Obviously, if you're spinning that fast, you're going to have a higher heart rate, higher respiratory rate. This is a great race, and, you know, we're targeting it again for next year, so we'll probably be back. We had a little bit of misfortune in the race. Naomi had a great race also, but on the last day she ends up flatting. You see Autumn there, like, she can't accelerate. She's all geared out there. But Naomi had a great race also. Unfortunately, she flatted on the last day, just about a few miles, maybe 2 miles from the final climb, and that just lost her a lot of time there. So we would have had, I think, 3 girls in the top 10. Again, you can see both the Monarch girls up here keeping it active. I think there still might be someone off the front. So this is basically the chase group here. If you can see the Watsi Lisa's putting in, like, yeah, it's a pretty tough race. It was pretty spicy at the beginning. Yeah, you see the temperature up top. It says 48 degrees. It was a pretty cold day. There goes Marlena trying to attack on the left side there. Again, we wanted to keep it spicy. So I think now that you've seen our team rotating up towards the front a little bit, I think everybody's back in position and back into the race now. You know, we got caught out a little bit early. So Elisa did a great job of keeping things together early for us, or just having some representation at the front before other girls were able to pitch in. And as you heard from the beginning, it's Marlena's birthday. So, you know, kudos to her for coming out to Oregon and spending her birthday with us instead of with family. We try to have a little cake and stuff for her, you know, during the trip. Yeah, it's definitely a pretty packed field too. I want to say, shoot, I don't know. I know in the road races there was a huge group of women, probably over 60 women in the road races. On this crit here, I would guess it's probably 30, 40 women racing. A little lull in the action here. Everyone's kind of looking around. Yeah, there's some very strong women in the Northwest. There goes Naomi up the inside there. Kind of ill-advised line, super tight in there. You're not gonna just the speed she was going. You're not gonna be able to make that turn there. You got to turn it tight. As you can see, she kind of came across the face of another rider there. Luckily, there was like obviously some room, but definitely don't want to be that close to the curb shooting up. That's like the kind of the classic dive bomb move. You always want to have like a little bit wider angle, and you want to be closer to the rider so you can enter the turn at roughly the same angle. Makes it safer for everyone. So yeah, this is definitely as slow as the race has been, and as you can see, there goes another attack as soon as it slows down. It's not a full-on attack, but she definitely wants to get the pace back up. And we started this day off with a good day. Also, Ellen and Jesse. Ellen tried to start a hot lap for Jesse right from the beginning. Just on lap 1, and just from the beginning, Jesse was able to establish a breakaway with one of the, I want to say it was one of the Valkyr riders, and then she was able to drop that rider, but another Valkyr rider switched with their teammate, and so her and Jesse was basically in a 2-person break the entire time. And then Jesse, with the peloton trying to chase, Jesse and the other rider was able to hold everyone off, and then Jesse won in a sprint on the last lap. So great job to Jesse winning another race. I think that was her fifth win on this season in her first year of racing. And she went from Cat 5 to Cat 3, and she's only like, if this race would have counted, she'd be Cat 2 already, but this race doesn't count because it goes by Oregon's point system and not USA Cycling. But congrats on a great win again and a great season. So you see Lisa going for a little, I think she was going for a premiere, and young lady right there just comes by, but I don't know her name, but that young lady has a really strong sprint on her. I just remember it, and I see her later in the race at the last lap. She has a pretty strong sprint on her. Yeah, we had a little bit of confusion and little controversy in this series also. Just starting off with radios, we were told we can use team radios. I was told that I just had to go to the team radio meeting and make sure that I had at least one radio that the officials can communicate with me, all that kind of stuff. And I did everything I was asked. And then on race 1, one of the officials see me talking on the radio and said, radios aren't allowed. And I was like, well, you guys told me they were, and, all that kind of stuff, and thought I might have had to take them off. And then they said, no, don't take them off. Just go ahead and use them for day 1. And other teams had radios as well. And then after day 1, which we only got to use the radios for a portion of the race because they didn't work at some points either. But then we got a notice saying no radios allowed. Unfortunately, even after the notice, some other teams still used radios. There was no penalty on the radios, but then we had some other controversies as well. Riders getting penalized. And then unfortunately in this race, we're going to have an unfortunate incident that I'll point out when it happens. Yeah, but overall, the Uzbekistan rider got penalized on the last day for, she had a mechanical and then used her team car to pace back up to the peloton. So she ended up getting I think a 1-minute penalty. She still won the overall, but she ended up getting a 1-minute penalty for that. Or maybe she didn't win the overall. I can't remember. But either way, she got penalized for that. And then in this race, we're going to have a incident that ends up knocking us down a little bit as well. But if you look at Autumn there, over to the right, you see how she's just spinning. She's stuck in small ring still. So anytime they're, approaching higher speed, she just can't keep up. So Elisa covers another move here. You see Marlena was to the right on the front. So we've definitely got a pretty good rotation now. All the girls are kind of up front and, contributing to the race, or either running down moves or counterattacking. But for the most part, this has just been nonstop, nonstop attacks one after another. So yeah, unfortunately too, we had Morgan wasn't able to come she was getting ready for track nationals, and Carolina was scheduled to come too, and then had an incident, with her father coming out, so she ended up not being able to make it to the trip. But it would have been great to have them two there. Carolina is a very strong rider, good climber, and then Morgan, of course, missing your powerhouse for sprints, and Morgan can climb as well, but it would have been great to just have like the full squad there. We did pretty well overall anyway, but I think we would have done even a little better with those two riders. Yeah, and Autumn did a great job too. She lives for these type of climbs, like especially on the last day. She did a really good job of just stretching the field and, testing her limits and testing other riders. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for her. She ended up 5th, I think, overall in GC, which is a great accomplishment, 2 big road races. And she didn't have a TT bike, so she lost some time there. And then here, being stuck in small ring, that's a great job of still coming in 5th in GC. And Jesse ended up 3rd in GC, I think, in the Cat 3 category, and overall with the race win also in the crit. So So right here is one of our unfortunate incidents. If you saw, Elisa was trying to go up the inside, and the Valkyr riders in the front turned on the wrong street. And then, of course, they almost run into each other twice here. At this point, Elisa's telling her, hey, just go to the pit.
Oh my God.
We kind of didn't know what to do here. Unfortunately, even though she got ran off the road there's no like free lap because there wasn't an actual crash. It's just they turned on the wrong street, and Elisa didn't try to turn on the wrong street. She knew, but the girls turned right across her face and forced her to turn, or there would have been a crash. But unfortunately, there was no free lap. But the problem is the officials didn't tell them that they're not getting a free lap. They just threw them back in the race. So they thought they're getting a free lap. As you can see there, you see the girls just turn there, right? This is Marlena's view now. And the girls just turned left on the wrong street. And unfortunately, there was only one A-frame in that street instead of multiple A-frames, showing that the girls are blocked off. Now, of course, they've done this lap, or this course, multiple laps now, so they should have known. But in the heat of it and in the red, sometimes you blank out, and if there's no cones across the street, you can get confused, and that's what happened there. But unfortunately, the officials didn't tell them that they're a lap down. So Elisa is now a lap down, but we didn't know that. And Elisa was sitting in as our sprinter this race. So we're thinking we're racing for her at the end for a sprint. We would like to get Autumn in a break, but if it comes down to a sprint, Elisa was the better sprinter. So we were going to race for Elisa or Marlena on the sprint here. And I shouldn't say here, but at the end of the race. So unfortunately, we ended up putting our eggs in a basket that was already a lap down. And I wish we would have just known that, because then, of course, we could have switched and Elisa could have let out Marlena or Autumn. Autumn was having the gearing problem, so most likely she would have let out Marlena. And Marlena already had a pretty good finish, so we definitely could have got her a couple more spots up if we would have been working the other way around. You see the street there to the left is just one A-frame. It does look pretty open. So in the girls' defense, yeah, in the heat of it, you can think it's the wrong street because there's not a lot of cones across it or not a lot of barricades across it. And as you can see everywhere else, there's a lot of cones and barricades to clearly show that the street is blocked off. And that one simply has one sign in the middle of it. So it's unfortunate, but it hurt us. We tried to petition at the end, but not even at the end. Elisa pleaded her case at the time. We pleaded our case later. I showed video because they said they could reverse it if we had good evidence. I showed video of the incident from Elisa's point of view on the final day, but the decision was upheld that there's still a lap down. Unfortunately, it was just a tough call. Like, what do you do? They did one less lap than everyone else, and there was no actual crash, no actual mechanical. Now, the controversy too is, for us, we can't cut a lap. Like in California or in America, I shouldn't say America because this is America, but for sure in the USA cycling, like, you can't cut a lap. You can't just come out the other side. But in Oregon, they were saying what the girls should have done is just came out the other side and rejoined the group. But, to my knowledge, everywhere else, you can't do that. You can't just go straight across and cut off an entire section of the course and just rejoin the group on your own. You'd still be disqualified or penalized. So what they were saying is they could have turned all the way around, went back to the road, and tried to chase the group down, or just cut straight through there. And of course, we would never just cut straight through and get back in. You cut a whole block off. So, I think Elisa did the right thing to go to the pit, other than if she would have known to turn all the way back around, chase back on, which, that would have been a very, very hard ask. But other than that, I think she did the next best thing, which was go to the pit and let the officials decide. And they decided, and unfortunately, it just wasn't in our favor. So look at Autumn. You can still see she's still in the small ring. She can't pedal, just over-rotating here. And, eventually it does get up to the big ring. But, that just really hurts. Really burns you out. Gives her nothing left in her legs for later in the race. I think I might be back with Elisa now. This might be Elisa back on. And I say that because there's a heart rate monitor. I think Marlena doesn't have a heart rate monitor on. No, this is Marlena actually, because Elisa, I think, has the map to the left would have shown her run off the road. So this is Marlena's camera here. And there's Elisa getting back on right there. Trying to get back up to the front. Kind of dive bombs her teammate there, but she's just trying to get back up to the front as quick as possible. Hopefully they communicate it. But yeah, you can see Autumn's just hurting there. Can't go anywhere in that small ring. So there's a little gap here, a little separation. Marlena's going to have to go by here too and close it up. Like I said, Autumn just can't pedal. She just doesn't have the gearing. But yeah, we're down to like maybe, I don't know, we may have like about 5 laps to go now. 5 or 6 laps to go. Not sure how long each lap is, but I think overall we had a really good race weekend and a really good race here. Um, you know, even despite the little setbacks that we had in the race here, and even with Naomi getting the flat on the last day, um, honestly, you know, talking about the controversy, knowing that if we would have known it's only a 1-minute penalty to draft your car, I was with Naomi when she got the flat, and fortunately, one of the riders, because Naomi was riding rim brakes, so all the support vehicles only had disc brakes, and I had picked up a rider from Washington, Natalie, that, you know, maybe 10, 15 miles back that had an issue in the mountains. And luckily, Natalie had a rim brake bike and was able to switch wheels and get Naomi back on the road. But if I would have known, because originally they told us if you draft a car, it's dangerous and you're going to be disqualified. So if I would have known it's just a 1-minute penalty, I could have actually drafted or pulled Naomi back up to the group, and she would have finished higher and still been in the top 10. But of course, I don't cheat, for one. I don't condone it, and I won't teach that to our team. So, you know, Naomi was on her own. She worked on her own, and she still had a good finish. I believe she may have came in 15th or something like that. But that knocked her out of the top 10 in GC. So, yeah, I don't know. I just, you know, I never condone cheating, so I don't have any second or regrets of not doing it. It's just, you know, like I said, just some of the controversy didn't go our way. But we plan on coming back and giving it another shot next year. It is a great race. Obviously, a lot of times there can be things that can be sharpened up here and there. But it is a great race, and I think it's one of the few races, I think, in America that gives you the sense of like a true stage race, with 2 long road races, time trial, crit. And the road races are absolutely beautiful, out in the middle of the country, not a lot of vehicle traffic, big climbs, you know, 7,000 feet of climbing, 82 miles, and about 6,000 feet of climbing is in the last 10 miles. That's a pretty hard race. And yeah, it may not be special like on the world level or anything like that, but in America, and especially on the West Coast here, we don't have a lot of big climbing road races. So it's definitely a great event if you like climbing, to get out and kind of test your abilities. See Elisa covering moves up there too. Marlena was accelerating to cover it, but Elisa was already on the front and just pulled over. So Marlena now shut it down, and now she's trying to jump on a Valkyrie rider. But that would have been a good break for us, so we thought. But again, Elisa's a lap down. She just doesn't know it. You know, instead of chasing her teammate, Marlena is definitely going to let the Valkyrie rider do the work here. Not sure if that's one of the ladies from Coalition. Yeah, so they're on it. The chase is on now. Yeah, I think even despite that being a lap down, Elisa had a great race. I think Marlena had a really good race as well. Autumn, unfortunately, was just not able to because of the mechanical. And Naomi did a good job also. Um, Naomi's not a sprinter, and this is a pretty fast paced race with a lot of attacks in it. So sometimes Naomi's caught out a little bit. And she's the smallest rider that we have in this group. So just sometimes the raw power isn't there. She needs the road to go up a little bit. Yeah, but kudos to all the women in this race. They've been going hard for a very long time. And it's pretty good because it was only a 40-minute race. So, yeah, obviously the shorter races allow you to go harder and have a little bit higher intensity. But, yeah, these girls really put on a great fight. They were battling, like, from the beginning, just attack after attack. And again, the air is pretty thin here. Yeah, so we got a couple laps to go here. Maybe 3 laps to go. I'm not sure. Now the quiet before the storm. Everybody sits up and looks around. There goes Naomi there. Again, Naomi was taking some very, very tight lines. Like I said, you guys have seen my videos before. I don't like being that tight to the inside. Again, she's on a little break here, just kind of keeping everyone honest. She knows she's definitely not trying to be in a sprint at the end, but just kind of keep it stretched out, keep it safe. We're only a few laps to go. We definitely don't want it to just slow down and give everyone a chance to rest. And then you got to remember, Elisa's coming off a podium, a third-place podium from earlier in the day in the time trial. So this was a big race for her to try to get back up to GC. Like I said, Autumn sitting in fourth. I think at the time she was sitting fourth GC before this race, going into this race. So we had 2 girls basically in the top, trying to get in the top 5 for GC. And then we were going to decide who to race for on the last day, depending on where they ended up in GC after this crit. I think overall, Autumn was the stronger climber, though. She's just super strong climber, and she's out of Colorado, so she climbs at altitude to begin with. She climbs in the cold, climbs in the wet. So, Autumn was definitely on her game as far as looking forward to that big climb at the end. Yeah, and it was actually snowing at the top when they finished. So it was a light snow, but still, some of them were wishing for snow, just because it's kind of gives you that world tour feel where you start off and it's 80 degrees and you're 100 miles away, and by the time you finish, you're at the top of some snow-capped mountain. Yeah, there's Naomi again right there. So you see, I think we're coming down to the last lap here. You see the Valkyrie rider takes off. Marlena sees it and just jumps on it from the beginning. So this is going into the last lap right here. And yeah, I thought we were in good position here. Marlena's sitting second wheel. I think Elisa's sitting about fifth, sixth wheel right now. So we're definitely set up for a strong finish here. I think the only issue is, we're kind of sitting here expecting Valkyrie to just keep the pace here, and I think she blows up a little bit. So yeah, you see the pace is already down 23. and the young lady just blows up. She just can't hold the pace anymore. And I think Marlena hesitates just a little bit here when the rider sits up, and yeah, so she gets kind of swarmed a little bit here. But I think if Marlena would have just attacked there, she had a pretty good chance, I think, of holding them off for half a lap. But now that she gets kind of swarmed here, and you see Elisa's on the outside, Elisa's planning on just taking off early here. But Elisa hesitates as well. So this is Elisa now. Elisa planned on just taking off right after this turn, but I think she just hesitated. Once she rolls to the front here, she needed to go, and Uzbekistan jumps from the outside, gets the jump on everybody, and it's kind of lights out now. And that's why I was saying if Marlena or Elisa would have just went, I think they had a pretty good chance of holding off the group to the line here. Because you see, Elisa didn't even hit that high of watts, and she ends up finishing second. Yeah, everybody's tired. That little burst there, that little momentum would have gotten in. You see from Marlena's finish here. So Elisa finished second, so we thought, and then we find out after that she was penalized a lap from getting ran off the course there. And yeah, she's just a lap down. So yeah, so unfortunately, Marlena ends up being our highest finished. And you see Marlena kind of, once she slowed down, it's just like she's fighting for behind now. She does pass a couple people, but Marlena ends up finishing 8th place right here. So it's still a good finish on the day. But I think if Marlena or Elisa would have just jumped early, I think no one would have caught them at the end. Just like the Uzbekistan girl did. She jumped and it's over. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll try to get some more videos out soon.